Welcome to the car collection of your dreams or your nightmares. So the LS430 dealership kind of evolved the past few weeks, months. I'll just kind of go through what we have here, but we're going to be working on that one in a bit. So we have a 2007 Land Cruiser. This one I got because it was local, so no shipping involved. Needs to be buffed, you know, all that good stuff, cleaned, and some other issues, alternator. Triple lock Land Cruiser 94, that's a good one, 156k miles only. Blue Vapor LX470, this needs some interior refurbish, but again, a solid truck. Another LX470. These are both rust free from the southeast, I believe, but this one's good to go. Both of these are in process, but that's what we got. This is our newest one. This is the off-white or sand dollar pearl LX470. This one too was local, so not rust free, but they undercoated the frame, and this one actually rides better than any other ones I've ever had. So the Flint Mica, this one we're going to be working on the air suspension coming up in the video. This one's a nice car. It's from Texas, black interior, and it's an Ultra, so it's got a lot of cool features that everyone wants. A lot of interest lately on this one, but we'll get into that. This is the Mica Emerald, or Emerald Mica. This is like an olive color with tan interior. That one's good to go. This is still that one owner LS430 from, I think, Texas. 10 grand. I mean, I'm getting zero interest on this, but this is the best car I have. So I don't know what's going on. It's a great deal. 146,000 miles. That's it. Solid. This is the newest one. This is a silver on black interior ML. Same thing. This is Florida and Colorado. And this one's good to go too. So, you know, we've got all sorts of different ones for you. This is another Ultra 2004, white on tan. This one I've got to do an interior clean on, and it's been sitting for a year and a half, so there's some weird stuff going on in the engine, but needs new tires and all that other stuff. But the suspension is good, air suspension. And then black on black Ultra 2004. This one's also good to go. It's from the Pacific Northwest. So no rust, no corrosion, air suspension is factory, it's not leaking, it works great, no accidents. This one's a very nice one. I'd say this is second best from the one owner. And then my heart here, Toyota T100, 98 last year. We got another video coming up. I just did time belt water pump, but yeah, there's a lot going on here. I could use some help. If you guys are interested, buy some of these. So, with that said, let's get into this, talk all about it right now, bring it in the garage. So we're in the Flint Mica Ultra, 153K, and we're pulling it in to do the air struts in front. So the way you can tell these are bad, if you go over, for example, you're going into a garage, you've got a little lip there. Well, let's see, if you hit it going forward, you'll hear like a clunking or a popping up front, only over bumps. That's a good sign that the suspension is bad. The other thing, this is so bad you can like hit the brake, kind of bounce around, and it's like a old Cadillac. Like, it's very noticeably bouncy, like the whole car is bouncing. So we're gonna change them out, and it's gonna be kind of controversial because we're putting in the eBay special, and I'll explain all that once we get into it. So this car, our like retail price, so this is like the maximum price the car can ever be, is $14,950. We've already reduced it to $12,900, and we're still not getting any interest. I'm betting this is gonna sell for somewhere around $10,000. It's just how it is. So if we put in factory struts, now remember they're $1,600 a piece from like a US dealer that has a discount. So that's $3,300 that we're never going to recover. Our customers, the people that we have, they're not Lexus like fanatics. They're not super, oh, this has to be OEM and everything. They just want the car to work, and they're willing to pay a certain price for that. And they're not going to care if you explain that the struts were $3,000 to replace. So what we're going to do in this video, we're going to put in the eBay special aftermarket front air shocks. We're going to do a whole comparison. I'll give you my take on how they are versus OEM, if they're worth it, if they're not worth it. But my thinking is anything is going to be better than this at this point, because if someone test drives this car, they're not going to want it at any price because the front shocks are just so bad and so floaty on the road. It's almost dangerous. So what we can do is, if someone says, hey, I'll buy it with factory shocks, okay, we can work with that. We can kind of factor that into the deal and the sales contract and all that. But we have a hard time fronting the money for the parts and kind of hoping that someone's going to pay the right price with the OEM suspension and everything else. So that's kind of where we're at on this. Let's just dive into it and see what happens. A couple of facts here that nobody can dispute. We're going to just compare ride height. So this is the normal setting. We're at about 28 and a quarter inches on the front right. And hopefully the same over here. Yeah, 28-ish, a little bit shorter than the other side, but it could be anything. So we're looking for ride height the same. The sport and normal suspension mode the same, and then just the ride quality the same. And hopefully we'll get it. If not, we'll just have to reassess by the end of the video. Okay, here's what you get. It says air strut made in China. There's your part number. And looking at it, I mean, you know, it looks like it'll fit. Looks the same. It has the same like split in the boot that the factory does. We've got the mounting point, this thing for the adjustment to clap onto, and you know, you push it down and it slowly rebounds. So far so good. It's just a matter of, you know, does it perform? And that's kind of what these things, I've never really seen any reviews on these struts or shocks. You know, normally people go with that one aftermarket brand. I don't remember the name. It's out of my memory right now. But a lot of people had problems with those. So if these don't work, I guess there's just zero solution for the LS cars. Oh, it's deciding to come back up again. The thing is, 01 to 03, the factory air shocks are discontinued. So if you're trying to fix your 01 to 03 pre-facelift, you're out of luck. There's no options other than this or converting back to the factory coil suspension. So it's only a matter of time before these are discontinued, the 04 to 06. I suggest buying a set or a pair or whatever, sticking them in your closet for a rainy day for when yours go out if you want to keep the air suspension. So with that said, we're going to lift up the car, remove the wheel, and it's pretty easy to get out. I know in the pre-facelifts, there was a hole in the strut tower that you kind of feed the Airline through. But you're going to have to take these off. And these clips, we get them off Amazon because they're so cheap. But yeah, a lot of times these are missing, or people use like this one that's like a non-matching one. But a lot of people don't do anything with those. So if we look in here, you know, we can kind of see back there what we're looking at. It'll all make more sense once we take everything apart. So, two ways to determine if you have bad air shocks. First one you can probably see, there's all this oil all over the shock body. So that will control how bouncy it is. And then secondly, if you have height problems where the car doesn't hold height, or the compressor's always running, that's the airbag. So two failures. First is the airbag, second is the oil. One of the two or both, you're going to need to replace it. So taking it out is pretty simple. You have to remove this nut. I think this is 17 millimeter or 14, one of the two. This will pop up that way. And then you have the shock bolt and nut down here. This is kind of tricky. You got to use a wrench for this side. And then this whole assembly will fall down a little bit, and that'll have enough room to take the shock out of there. So behind here, like directly behind here on the opposite side, there's the Airline. We'll deal with that when we get there. But for now, we'll remove that, the bottom one. this panel, and there's 3 bolts and nuts, or 3 nuts on top we'll take care of. We've got the 17mm nut off. We'll just take a hammer, hit the knuckle, and it should pop this loose. We've also got the bottom nut and bolt off right there. And this top is off. There's just 14mm nuts on top. Then you have your connector. You can just twist this and, you know, just like that. That's fine. And you'll see even here all the oil that's leaking out of the top hole. That's bad. That's real bad. And then this was actually the Airline. So there's a rubber kind of grommet and a line, and then under here is your Airline. Now there's a special tool that you can insert, kind of wrap it around the Airline and then push it in, and it'll pop it out. A couple different ways to do it, but under here you'll see the 3 nuts that are for the actual shock. And take these off, and then we should be in business. Alright, so we've got this off, that's down, that dropped down. All we gotta do now is deal with this Airline. And I have PD Tools or PD Design. It's like a 3D printed case, and then you have this little contraption that opens up. You put the Airline inside, close it, push it in, and this releases the Airline inside the shock. So we'll do that. And again, I want to reiterate that I'm not happy about this, but it's kind of all we can do. Like, the thing is, we've had this car up for sale for over a month, I think, right now, and we've had 0 interest. It's on Marketplace, it's on our website, it's on Google, and nothing. So it is what it is. That's it. That's my rant. Like I said, if someone was like, hey, I love this car, I want factory shocks on it, done, we'll do it. But we can't just like do it and then hope that someone's gonna buy it. Once you get to this point, you'll see that plastic retainer. You have to pop that out of the strut, and then you're left with just the line. Now the line's stuck in there. You have to, there's 2 little tabs on that receiver, if that makes sense. You have to stick something in there. That's where this tool comes in handy, to push in there inside the Airline, and this will release the line from the strut, or the shock. So I have to somehow, it's easier also if you remove the shock and then kind of do it inside the wheel well. It's not very easy through that hole. So that's got to come off first, and just slide that down. And then I'll have to force that tool on there into the shock, and then it'll pop that Airline out. It helps if there is no air in the system. If you can somehow bleed it down, that would be helpful, but you can do it with the air in there too. It's not a big deal. Alright, we got it out. You can see the Airline here. I lost my tool because the air pressure like blew it out. I have no idea where it went, so I'll have to track that down. And I already see a potential issue. So for some reason this is like much lower on this one. But even worse than that, the height. So the 01 to 03 had shorter shock bodies. So my guess is they modeled it after the 01 to 03. Didn't take into consideration the 04 to 06 has longer shocks. So we're already going to be down, you know, that much in height from factory. So if you put these on and you want to know why you're an inch or two lower, this is the reason, because this shock is shorter than the OEM one. So cross our fingers. I'm still hopeful for this. Another way you can tell these are not the right height is because now the control arm at this resting position doesn't reach the shock. You have to raise the control arm up to even get the bolt through. So that is your height difference, static height difference. So keep that in mind. You're going to lose that much height from the factory ones. Again, it's a shame because they're just using the same shock for all 01 to 03 to 04 to 06. These would probably work well on 01 to 03, so if you're looking for cheap ones for that, these are the correct ones. But we'll get to the comfort level, how it rides and all that, once I get the other side done. So I'm going to follow up. When we installed this and then tighten that bolt down and release the jack, it actually pulled the strut out some. So we'll see if that fixes the issue of the height problem. I don't know. I don't know if it's normal for this to like pull it out more, because by hand you could only pull it so much and then it stopped. So this is all in. It kind of looks stretched now as it is. So like I said, we'll see what happens when we put it down and air it up. But we're in, we're torqued, and we're gonna lower this down and see how it raises it up before we move on to the other side. We got the driver's side in here. This side's a little bit easier because there's more room. And as long as you get this plastic piece, this retainer clip off, you can pull the line out of the shock by hand. So you don't really need the tool, it just makes it easier. But like I said, once you get to this point, you're ready to put it back in. I get it like that, and then I use like a needle nose very gently and then push the line, snap it into the shock, and then we put the retainer back in. So you can use a long needle nose like this and just very gently grab this line and then kind of push it into the shock, and then you can give it a little tug, but it's snug in there. There's a little O-ring in there and you can feel it kind of pop out. So use that to snap it in, and then you can see we're secured there. So there's only an O-ring, like a friction kind of retention on the line itself, and then the plastic piece here is what actually holds it in the shock so it doesn't blow out. So once you're done there, put the cap back on and you're ready for starting the car up. All right, so what's the verdict? Passenger side, we've got 28.5, so maybe a 1/4 inch higher than it was. We're looking good. Driver's side, 28.5. Okay. I'm impressed so far. So the old ones, there is a company called Nagast or something like that out of Poland. They do a lot of rebuilding on the mag ride shocks for like Lambos and Audis. I'm curious, I think they can probably rebuild these, but then the problem is by the time you ship them to Poland, get them rebuilt, and then ship them back, it's probably the same price as a brand new one. So either way, I'm gonna hang on to these and label them that just they're leaking, but the air is okay. So maybe someday someone will be able to fix these. But so far so good. Let's take it for a ride. Oh, actually before that, let's do the high mode, height high. So we'll go down here, we'll select height high. Compressor turns on, raises the car up. Okay, high mode, you can see the car is visibly higher, front and back. Now the fronts, we're up to 29.25. So you can do the math of your own. And then driver's side, 29.25. So the ride height sensors deal with the height. I mean, the shock is not gonna tell the car how high it wants to go. It's the actual sensors on the control arms. So with that all sorted, let's take it for a ride. All right, off we go. So we're in the normal mode, not the sport mode on this. Fortunately, you're not going to be able to really see any results. You just have to take my word for it. And it feels much stiffer than it was. Like the left and right movement of the wheel, it's very defined now, whereas before it was kind of all over the place. I think it's a little bit stiffer than OEM, comparing it to my 01 Ultra. It feels a little bit more stiff. So with that said, now the ride quality, I'm actually quite impressed. I am impressed. If you didn't tell me that these were aftermarket, I probably wouldn't know. And to the average person that's test driving it or looking at these, or even someone that's familiar with Lexus, I don't think you would know. You wouldn't even second guess and say, is this an aftermarket shock or is this original? It's kind of like it does the job, and it feels good. Like, I don't any complaints on how hard it's hitting any kind of ruts or bumps in the road. Yeah, it's good. Like, it feels good. So the only question really is longevity. I mean, how long are these gonna last? Let's try it on sport mode just to see. That's technically supposed to stiffen them up even more. I don't know if they have that ability with the aftermarket ones. I mean, I hope they do, but we'll see. Some people have said like it doesn't have the factory adjustable dampening on aftermarket ones, but I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, it's really hard to tell. I guess there's a little bit of a difference. You can definitely feel the bumps a little bit more on sport mode. But I don't know if you're picking it up from the rear or if the fronts are in play too. I mean, I guess you could argue that yes, I can feel a little bit more bumpiness and roughness through the steering wheel when the fronts hit compared to normal. But I mean, for $350 or $390 or whatever it was for the two, you're not gonna beat this. Especially, like, let's say you do want original, but they're gonna take 2 months to get here from Japan. Well, you know, throw these on if you need to drive the car for a few months, because these are much safer and much better than blown out factory ones, that's for sure. Yeah, that's my consensus. And yes, it's a little bit more unforgiving than original. I guess that's the only thing. If you have a real keen eye for this, or touch, and you know, you can tell. But overall, like you saw, the height was good. It retained the same factory height. You know, if you're doing some slaloming here, left, right, you're not getting any noise, any kind of collapsing on the shock. Nothing crazy. It feels good. You know, it feels solid. So I think whoever gets this car is going to be happy. It's a real nice car. It's only got 153,000. It's an Ultra. The seats are in good condition. It smells good in here. There's no odors. And you know what? If you want to put on coilovers or air ride aftermarket, go ahead. But as of right now, you're not going to be disappointed with this car. So thanks for watching this time. We'll get into some more in the coming videos with that black one with a locked up steering column and some other stuff. Maybe I'll do a timing belt on this. I don't have a video of that. We're gonna have the 3.4 liter V6 Toyota T100 timing belt video. I'll do that. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed. Wow. All right. Please like, subscribe, comment. We're at 20,000 subscribers, so I'm happy. Thank you to everybody for watching, and take care. Till the next one.